Welcome to Mark Langley's Horsemanship podcast. I'm Jenny Barnes.
And I'm Mark Langley.
Where are you today, Mark?
I'm in Darwin in a caravan park. As you can hear, there's a bit of noise in the background. We're in the pool area. So there's a few waterfalls that you can hear.
Nice and hot?
Oh, lovely, lovely warm up here. At home we've been having snow, and up here it's 30 degrees. So yeah, wearing shorts and don't really look like a horse person at the moment.
Just to bring you back to the horse world then, we've got some questions from our members. The first one's from Catherine. She says she would like to have her horse Romeo walk around in a circle with a slight bend and step over a sloping trot pole, reaching with his inside front leg for physio exercises. He's really good at straight and long reining now. How do I get him to bend to the circle? At the moment, he just goes to his tricks. Do you have any suggestions, or can you point to a specific video on the membership?
Okay, well, basically any of the on the membership, there's lots of the leading and circling exercises where I'm teaching horses to walk by and then take a circle. But something I say to people is, people sometimes think I'm not a big fan of circles because I say don't go and do 1,000 circles. I'm okay with circles. It's just that circles aren't going to get a horse to do a nice soft bend to the inside. What's going to get a horse to do a nice soft bend to the inside is a horse following the feel of the inside rein softly and cornering and then holding that corner, I guess, until it turns into a circle. I like to put a bit of foundation in there, and instead of just sort of putting a horse on a circle and saying keep looking to the inside, keep looking to the inside. And I think that's what happens is a lot of times we sort of tend to just get the horse and put it on a circle and say look to the inside, look to the inside. And then the horse gets sort of disinterested or dull and tends to sort of look to the outside and fall into the circle. So what I'd be looking for to get the horse to take a nice soft bend is when the horse goes past, allow it to do a straight line and then teach it to do a corner. So basically a corner is just the horse turns to the inside, does a new straight line. It could be a 90-degree turn or something like that. Sometimes for some horses that need a little bit more understanding to pick up that inside feel on your lead rope means turn, then maybe you do a tighter turn, tighter than 90 degrees, and maybe the horse goes out and turns back and comes towards you. So it'll kind of look like you're sending your horse out and bringing it back and sending it past and bringing it back, and it would look like a flower with a very tight petal, and then slowly those petals become more rounded, so the horse goes out and comes back until you're sort of maybe doing a shape like a nice rounded, real round petal. The horse comes back to you, and then you ask them by again and they go out and round and come back. And when they can follow the feel of that inside rein and take a bigger rounded turn and look and think to the inside, then you can just sort of send them out and just do a circle all the way around you, so that becomes just a big round leaf around you. So that's the way I'd probably tend to get a horse to accurately follow the inside rein. I know in some schools of training people just get the horse's focus to distract them to look to the inside and interrupt the horse's outside thought by getting its focus, and it tends to look at something in the middle, whether it be a flag or a person. The only catch with that, it's kind of like a liberty thing where the horse is just looking into the inside. And that can still work in a sense if you were at liberty, but as long as the horse is not looking in at you, it has to be kind of just travelling bent to the angle of the direction it's going. So it's thinking on the path that it's going to be on, not over bending, just looking in, going, oh hello, how are you going? Because that would be just out of balance. If the requirement for some physio work is to have a horse over bend and bend and walk through and step forward and underneath with their inside shoulder, then you can encourage that by getting the horse to bend a little softer and overbend, and then you walk a little straight line and encourage the horse's body to walk a straight line with a softer bend to the inside, so the horse travels forward with its shoulders but bent to the inside. But if that's a physio lesson that you have to do with your horse, then be mindful that you don't overdo it till you get your horse kind of rubbernecked and it just sort of bends and just blows out through the shoulders. And what's going to cause it to be rubbernecked is when the horse actually starts to learn to bend to the inside, but it still thinks to the outside and wants to leave, and then it just walks out through the shoulders. So yeah, you can encourage more of a deeper bend. But firstly, I'd get accuracy with that inside rein, with that flower pattern, until it turns into a circle. And basically, whenever you pick up a little more feel, the horse will bend a little more and travel into that turn. If you want to push the shoulders out a little bit, then you'll take a bend and you'll step forward and you'll block the shoulders from coming in, and you'll use your direction in your body to direct the shoulders out a little bit, and that'll help create that shape and bend if that's what you need. But circles are okay when the horse is accurate, but if you don't give the horse the foundation and do circles, that's when people have problems. But yeah, thanks very much for the question.
Okay, next question is from Jakara. She has a horse that has got a bit of a panic up when she didn't do her saddle up quite tight enough. She half mounted, the saddle slipped a fair bit, and she could see that her horse started to get a bit worried, so she just decided to slide off the side of him. But the minute her feet hit the ground, he went into a full bronc and bucked like crazy in the roundyard for 30 seconds, and then came back to calm. She fixed up his saddle, she jumped on him again, and he was fine and back to his normal self. So from what she could see, the slipping of the saddle made him really worried, and then her sliding off and thumping the ground next to him made his cup overflow. She also said that in the last clinic that she attended of yours, he did double spook due to the saddle slipping on the side, and she does know that with saddling, he does like to step back a lot when she's about to saddle him. She doesn't go slow because she knows that the anticipation could be worse, and once he's saddled, he is fine. So she's asking, what can she do to help him? On a plus note though, walking side by side with Sunny is coming along really nicely, and she hasn't been getting the snake head at all, and says thank you for the tips on that.
Oh, good, Jakar. I'm glad I was able to help you on those previous areas, and also congratulations too, because I just read a little post of yours, and also sorry for everybody else who's written some posts. We've been out of service a lot in Western Australia. Towns are a long way apart and service is a long way apart. So, but yeah, Jakara, I read the little post about your horse getting caught in the barbed wire fence and with its holder and yielding softly to the field, opposed to what he would normally do and pull back and then hurt himself. So good on you, because that's really good that you've set him up to be a lot safer in a human environment and cope with things. So, but in regarding your question, that is actually a fairly common thing with horses. The problem of horses kind of semi-freezing and then blowing, or fully freezing and then blowing, and that's everyone's heard the flight, fight, freeze. Well, freeze is the one you don't want. Flight is the one. Flight is what you want in your horse's flight. Could be a horse just gently moving away because it's a little nervous. Flight doesn't have to be a horse just bolting down the paddock. So freeze is usually a pathway to big flight or big fight. And I try and get people to understand that so they can always see freeze in a horse and address it. So a lot of the training, what I'm trying to do with horses is take away the freeze. So when I'm teaching young horses, I'm trying to keep them moving all the time, in the sense of, when I'm teaching young horses to take a saddle blanket or take a saddle pad and a saddle, I'll actually have them moving softly while I'm exposing them to those things, and belly ropes and things like that. So then when they move their feet, they know they can move their feet and not be nervous with that feeling. So what I would suggest is if you've really sort of started to come along with the walking beside, that's the sort of the walking beside you feeling good, as in your horse feeling good about walking beside you, is the sort of the springboard the foundation that springboards you to the things that can help him understand the saddle. So if he was walking beside you going, oh, I'm really nervous and I don't really like it here, then you don't have that tool there to help him with the saddling. So because you're walking beside is improving till he's soft and feeling good about it, now you can fix the saddling. So you know, though you're riding him, you're kind of starting him again and fixing all the bits that got missed. So what I would say is you could put a belly rope on him again, things like that. Put a rope around his belly, tighten it and teach him to lead with the belly rope till he's soft with that, and then move that belly rope around and rub him, things like that. Handle him while you're walking beside him, all that sort of stuff. And if he's a little nervous, what'll happen, he might speed up a little. You let him go out a bit and then you bring him back and you soften with him and rub him again, and he'll start to find that he can walk beside you and while you're moving and handling him like that, and you just, you know, get over him a bit. And then the next thing you'd be sort of looking at, if you don't have one yourself, find one, borrow one at an old, you know, op shop, charity shop, whatever. There's probably someone out there that's got an old light saddle that's sort of that they're not using anymore, that's, you know, whether it's an old synthetic saddle or something like that you can just pick up with one hand. Something I'd do then is I'd just pick up that light saddle with one hand, and I'd saddle a horse while he's walking softly beside you, saddle him, rub that saddle over him, stop him, back him up while you rub him the saddle, walk him forward, stop him. All that sort of thing's going to really help him with the movement and understanding that he can move softly with you, close around him, and have those things moving on him. And basically you're looking for freeze. So what'll happen is when you start moving the saddle, what's common with a horse that goes to freeze and then sort of they blow up, is you'll start moving something and that'll trigger that scary sort of, oh, what's that? And they'll kind of stop first. And that's when you ask him to come through again and say, no, keep walking, mate. And you say, every time he freezes, you just lead him through and say, keep walking, keep rubbing him with a saddle. And then you might get a bit creative and just don't tie it to your stirrup in case something goes wrong, but just put a rope through your stirrup and just join it in your hand. And then you can just do the same thing and pull the stirrups out, you know, at a distance from him while he's walking and things like that. And just expose him to all that, you know, things happening on his back whilst he's moving, and then get it to a stage that you could stop him, stand him, move him, back him, and basically he's got the same soft expression. He doesn't change expression. He doesn't get he doesn't get that opposing magnetic feeling of him sort of blowing away a little when you do stuff with him. He just feels like he's calm and consistent in that flowing beside you and around you whilst you're handling him, and that'll probably make a big difference, you know. So you see it all the time, is saddle the horse is frozen, and then girth it up and make it move, and then it kind of bucks around. Or get on the horse while it's standing there looking kind of like it's quiet, but it's not, it's just frozen, and then ask it to take a step, and then it panics. And that's why everything should be done or trained at movement, in movement, and then you say, now we can stand, because you know by the time the horse has moved with something, standing's easy peasy. Thanks, Tishkara, and good luck.
Okay, the next question is from Anne. She would like to know, how would you address a 4-year-old horse that plants when he doesn't want to go where you're asking? She does say this is not a lack of understanding. He does lead perfectly fine when he's going somewhere he doesn't mind going, and she doesn't have too much trouble moving him when he does do this. But she does wonder how difficult it might be in a stressful situation, and she doesn't want to find out. She also wants to note that she doesn't want to ruin his quirky self. He doesn't get nasty. It's more, you know, he is communicating with her really well. And he just sort of says, yeah, nah, kind of thing. After a year together, he's gone from defensive to now very much seeking her out if he's worried. And he's quite a buddy. He's also very good at telling her when he's not happy about something, a little bit like a dog. So she doesn't want to wreck that relationship. He is not like any other horse that she's had before. But she's wondering if she should be firmer or just allow more time to consolidate the training.
Yeah, happening a lot. I guess over the years of doing clinics and teaching people to open up, shut down horses, people come back with, or like yourself, you've got a defensive horse, but you've got defensive horses, shut down horses. When you open them up, then you've got the expressive horse, and sometimes that can cause its own complications because the horse is saying, like you said, I'm not going to do that, or I'm a bit scared over there. And now, the thing is when you're taking your horse somewhere that's scary, this is what you've got to have in mind: is I'm leading you through a scary place so you can follow my leadership. So your leadership has to be very good quality for the horse to want to follow it. If he's just kind of going, then he's going, well, I don't want to go over there. And but there's a point that there's got to be enough understanding, a certain amount of discipline. Understanding is like, I guess discipline is a horse understanding what you're asking and being okay about it, and okay not to question it. And you don't have to discipline, you don't have to educate your horse to get that type of discipline where it's scared. You can educate it where it's not scared. So part of the process of doing that is getting the horse to really understand when you say, I'd like you to do this, can you do it now? The horse goes, okay, I can do it now. So that might be, I'm leading and I'm going to firm up a little on that lead rope, and I'm going to firm up a little more, and that horse will go, yep, I'm okay with that. I can come through with that. There's no brace, no sort of, I'm going to question that. So we're setting up horses to search in training, but then what we're ultimately doing is we're setting them up to not question training. So we're setting them up to search and think and find boundaries, but then when we start to sort of narrow the pathway into that accurate pathway of training that we want them to do, they don't question it. So the questions are when they're sort of searching and learning, and we set them up to go through that door, open door or something like that. But then there's a point when it gets to the stage that when we say, come along or do this or do that, the horse goes, no, I understand that enough not to question it. So in your comfortable, or in his and your comfortable training environment, you want to sort of set it up that he doesn't question, say, the leading, the legs when you want to move forward. All those things are clear and understandable. And then when you take him to sort of an area where he goes, oh yeah, I'm not so sure about that over there, then he won't freeze, because he knows the power of the discipline and the understanding behind the leading and all that is there, that he won't freeze. But then you can say, okay, I can see you're kind of suspicious about that, but maybe I'm going to lead you off to the side a little. So you don't give an opportunity just to stand there and freeze, and you might just start to feel a bit of a reluctance, and then you might just say, well, why don't we lead across here? And you take him across, and then maybe go sideways a little, and just keep the life in the lead and yourself. So he's still got to think, and then he might go left and right a little, and then he might look out there and go, oh, well, I'm not so scared of that anymore. Then you say, well, come through and follow my leadership. Okay, and the other thing that you're doing by being a strong leader is he gets to the stage that when he follows you somewhere, he says, well, I'm really nervous here. I'm happy that you're with me, and I'll go through this knowing that you're leading me through, just like a herd situation where a horse chooses to say, I think we should go over there, and everyone else in the herd says, I think that's a good idea, let's follow that idea. They might go through some scary areas, but because they've chosen to follow the leader, they put the confidence in the leader. I guess they put their confidence in the leader, so the leader goes, yes, I'm going. And they go, well, I'm going to go with you. We're just going to look out for big danger, but we're going to push ourselves through this uncomfortable experience as a herd. And that's kind of what you're doing with you. You and your horse are a herd. And sometimes horses are with their people, still thinking they're on their own, so they're more reluctant in a lot of situations. They're not following the feel of a herd. They're just thinking they've got to take on all the responsibility themselves. So when you do, your leading lessons, and you get to a stage that your horse is putting his confidence in you, you find that he'll go, well, you say it's safe, I'll go with you on that. And then you've also got that training and that foundation in there that he's not questioning any of that. So you get him so he doesn't question training, and then doesn't question leadership, and then he'll lead through more scary spaces without that resistance. So I'd say I'd be working a little bit more on freeing him up and getting him more responsive and starting to up the ante a little bit. What I mean by that is, yeah, we all go to the training mode. Oh yes, right, my horse is searching and reward, tick, tick, tick. But then we don't put it to the test. We stay in training mode for years, training our horses in this nice way, thinking. But if it was our children, we'd have to put it to the test. We'd have to put them to the test and say, is this going to set them up for life later on? And that's why at school they have tests and exams, is to say, well, you know, you've done all this work. Has it sunk in? Has it sunk in that you can find that on your own in a short amount of time? So that's why an exam is not, you know, let's take all day to do the exam. The exam might be half an hour. So that's what we've got to think in our training. There's a point where we've got the horse interested in understanding things, and then we put it to the test and say, now you don't have time to search. I'm asking now, can you find it? And the horse goes, yep, I can find that. And I think if you work on a bit more on that in the sort of area where you guys are comfortable, and then take that training out to where he's not so sure, and he won't have the nah so much, because he'll know that you've handed over more responsibility to him. So yeah, and a big thing I'm saying a lot at clinics is you know, we've got to get to a stage where we're handing over the responsibility to our horse, is not always saying, oh, can you do this, or and that's where we've trained our horse and we know we've done a good job, so that we've handed it to the horse and say, well, you know, I pick up that rope, I know you're going to come. So if you start to think like that more in your training, then you'll find that you won't have so many of those reluctant sort of spots. And you know, it's not like you're going to shut him down by expecting a little more, because you've set him up for that. If you just sort of dominate them early on, well, yeah, you can shut them down, but there's a point where they got the understanding to step up and be okay about it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for your questions, everybody. That was. We'll see you again in a fortnight. If anyone's got any questions, remember, just pop them through if you're a member. If you're not a member and you want to join Mark, just hop on to his website, which is equineability.com.au, and you can have a look at his over 340 training videos for $15 a month.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.